Hello everyone, this is AndresRestart, and today what we're going to be doing is having a discussion on the next new 3D Mario, but focusing on the teaser, how that teaser is going to look, what we're going to get, getting hyped for this big reveal that many expect, myself included, I am predicting, will be revealed this year. I do believe Nintendo is going to finally show off the next new 3D Mario for Nintendo Switch 2, and it will be coming out by the end of the year as Nintendo's biggest holiday release. Now at this point it's just a prediction, but as we've talked about several times already over the last few months, you look at the history of things, the 40 plus years of history of console generations, if not by the first holiday, that second holiday, there is a new mainline Mario platformer. And also you look at Donkey Kong Bonanza, while it was made by part of the Odyssey team, you take a look at the credits, several huge, big key members from the Odyssey team did not work on Bonanza, and Bonanza alone does not account for the 9-year absence of a brand new, full 3D Mario title. So yes, I believe 3D Mario will be revealed soon, and so what I want to talk about is the contents of this teaser. What can we expect here? What are they going to show for our very first look at this game? And so I thought a fun way to go about this is to take a look at how Nintendo's handled prior 3D Mario reveals, because I do think there's some very interesting insight we can take away from these prior reveals, which will in turn just get us more excited for what Nintendo will have to show off with Mario's next big adventure. But here's that reminder that if you do find yourself enjoying my videos and you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. Liking and commenting would make a big difference too. So the first 3D Mario teaser I'm going to talk about today is actually from the concept reveal trailer for the Nintendo Revolution. This came out back in 2005. The Nintendo Revolution was the codename for the Nintendo Wii. And so initially they had this trailer showing off how the Wii Remote could work for different Nintendo games. We didn't actually get gameplay. And for the Mario section, we saw this woman playing with just the Wii Remote, no nunchucks, so just that single controller pointing at the screen and flicking it while you would hear the jump button. Now, if something like this happened in today's day and age, there would be a massive internet crash out, people would be freaking out, there would be pitches and forks and all that stuff, because people would take this to mean that this is how the next 3D Mario would play, and well, that wouldn't be so great. However, they do immediately then show off the nunchuck for the Nintendo Wii, where you could imagine slightly more traditional controls. Fortunately, for my own personal sanity, I don't think that's going to happen this time around. The Switch 2 has already come out, they don't have to tease Mario in such a vague, ambiguous way now. So when we do finally see it, I do imagine we'll actually have gameplay, and people won't look at certain particular things and just hone in and assume it's only that one particular thing, and then imagine it to be the most terrible thing ever. I think it's pretty safe to say that the first actual teaser for the next 3D Mario game is going to have actual gameplay. But not only will we see gameplay, what they're going to show is going to leave an impression. I don't think it's going to be like a short few seconds here, it's going to be something substantial. So taking a look at when they finally gave us a proper trailer for the Nintendo Wii, where we actually started to see some gameplay for different games, when they showed off Mario Galaxy for the very first time, this was such a cool, incredible, hype moment. Put yourself back in the time of 2006, where we didn't know how the next new Mario was going to look, where we were curious about the next Metroid, what was going on with The Legend of Zelda, and what this hardware could do. When they finally showed Mario for the first time on the Nintendo Wii, It was a very exciting time, and Mario Galaxy was very different from Mario Sunshine. And this is still relatively early on into the era for 3D gaming, and so to see what they were doing with Mario Galaxy with the gravity mechanics and interacting with the screen with the pointer controls and pulling Mario in these different directions in space, the game looked crazy. It was beautiful. It certainly showed how different it was, and it left an impression, and I imagine with this next 3D Mario, something similar is going to happen here. We're going to see what sets it apart. It's going to be a really big deal. Now, I will say there is a small possibility that maybe this teaser is more reserved, and that would only be because they reveal this game before the Mario Galaxy movie. I'm recording this video on March 23rd, the Mario movie's coming out on April 1st. So we're basically just a week away. It seems like we probably won't get the 3D Mario reveal this week, but if we did, they would probably do something a little bit smaller, perhaps kind of like this first look at the gameplay of Mario Galaxy on Nintendo Wii. But taking a look at the reveal trailer for Super Mario on Nintendo 3DS, I found this one to be interesting, because it was just so different from what we saw of Mario Galaxy. Now, this is for the 3DS, a handheld device, and I do think they ultimately chose this direction in part because of hardware limitations and what they wanted to accomplish with the 3D gimmick. 3D Land tried to bring in the 2D Mario elements into 3D gameplay. It was kind of like a hybrid, which I thought was neat, and for the 3DS, it was very much appreciated. But I do also think it's worth noting that when they initially showed off 3D Land, we just knew it as Super Mario for 3DS. They didn't reveal the name immediately. I think we're probably looking at a very quick turnaround here when they do reveal the next 3D Mario, so we'll probably get a proper title reveal. Very much like Donkey Kong Bonanza, for example. Donkey Kong Bonanza was revealed during the Switch 2 Direct back on April 2nd, and it came out July 17th. Super quick turnaround. They showed us the title for the game, and then the game was just kind of heavily marketed for the next few months. But I'll circle back to Bonanza a little bit later. Taking a look at the reveal for Super Mario 3D World, this one was interesting because it was our first look at Mario in HD. Now, at the time, I actually found the reveal to be pretty underwhelming. Some of this had to do with the fact that it was kind of like a direct sequel to the 3DS title, which my impression of it was that they designed 3D Land to fit the hardware limitations of the 3DS. The Wii U was dramatically more powerful, and I was kind of hoping for something a little bit more ambitious with more scope, but they went for a Mario design that felt very cookie-cutter. Now, in hindsight, I do appreciate 3D World a lot more now, and it's not to say I didn't fully enjoy the game when it came out. I 100%ed that game, but I'll stick by what I said then, and I've said for many years about this game. For the Wii U, it was the wrong Mario at the time. It didn't save the console. It wasn't the kind of game that made everyone think, wow, this is finally Nintendo making it into the HD era. This is an ambitious, epic Mario game that I will buy a Wii U for. That's not what happened. Instead, they revealed Mario in a cat suit with multiplayer, which also, I know I'm being really negative on this, but the multiplayer aspect just wasn't it for me. Like, I really do like 3D World, but the multiplayer element just felt like they are trying to reach a more wider, casual audience, which, me being a more core-centric gamer that really enjoys the single-player adventures and such, it was just not an angle I enjoyed. I did really like the catsuit though. It didn't scream super epic and cool, but it was certainly fun and cute when I got to actually play the game. I do think Nintendo learned something though from this approach. It's not to say they can't enjoy elements like this in future Mario games, but there is something to the idea with going more grand in scope, big and epic, and using that to showcase what your system is capable of. And so when they revealed Super Mario Odyssey for the Nintendo Switch, it was a huge difference here. Mario Odyssey was visually striking. It looks like nothing else before it, and at first we weren't even sure what it was until Mario came out. In those first few very quick, brief moments when we saw the city, we just did not know what we were looking at. But when Mario finally comes out, we see the detail, we see the exploration, we see these vast worlds that you're getting to explore. This was taking Mario back to the direction they had with both Mario 64 and Mario Sunshine. But as we now know after having played all of Mario Odyssey, it still has elements from Galaxy and 3D World as well, but we are exploring these open, big sandbox worlds. And Mario Odyssey went on to become the best-selling 3D Mario by far. 3D Mario finally outpaced 2D Mario in sales. So Mario made a significant leap here, and it certainly contributed to the incredible success of the Nintendo Switch, which is now the best-selling Nintendo console of all time and seemingly pacing to eventually pass the PS2 to for sure be the best-selling video game console in history. Mario Odyssey played a significant role there, which I do think in part highlights the need to reveal a new 3D Mario soon. You want the Switch to maintain its incredible momentum, its incredible pace, and so Nintendo's going to need some really big hitters to be revealed soon. Some of you might find this interesting, but we've yet to see even Nintendo take advantage of DLSS in their big games, which to me just strongly suggests that we've yet to see truly what Nintendo has to offer on Switch 2. We've seen some pretty exciting third-party ports on Switch 2, but I think we're still just scratching the surface in terms of what Nintendo can do with the hardware. Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza, while great, I feel were just appetizers for what can be done here. But what I also want to highlight about the first Mario Odyssey trailer, we got to see some pretty significant gameplay of the game, but there was something significant about the game that they did not show off. And that was the capture mechanic. We did see Mario throwing around this hat and using that for different platforming mechanics, and at the very end of the trailer they do tease Cappy as a character. They show the hat with the eyes, so we know that the hat is alive, which I felt was a really cool thing in terms of the teaser and the setup to learn more about this game. And eventually we got to see what Cappy was all about, which had to do with the capture mechanic, which at the time many people felt was mind-blowing, being able to interact with all these different characters and enemies and capture them and have very different styles of gameplay mixed into this already free-feeling 3D Mario platforming experience. So those are some pretty cool things I think we should keep in mind when thinking about the next big Mario teaser here. I don't think they're going to show everything. They're going to portray things in a way where we'll probably get a really good look at the game. The game will likely be pretty much almost totally done, so it's going to feel like a very complete trailer, but they're going to intentionally hold back on showing off a really cool, crazy hook to the game, like the capturing mechanic. And they may even be handling things in a way where they have this plan where they're going to tease certain elements and have us really thinking about what's next for the next big reveal as we get closer to the release of the game. They did something really similar with Donkey Kong Bonanza, actually. So with Donkey Kong Bonanza, very similar to Mario Odyssey, when we got that first trailer, it felt very complete. It felt like we were looking at the actual full game. But they only showed us Donkey Kong running around with Oddrock as his companion. And if you were paying attention to the channel at the time, or just the conversation surrounding Donkey Kong Bonanza back last year, there were a lot of theories and rumors, and there was even a leak that there was something more to Oddrock. We theorized that Pauline would be involved, a young Pauline, which was eventually confirmed, and that was a part of the Donkey Kong Bonanza Direct where they revealed that Oddrock is actually Pauline, the actual co-star to the game, traveling alongside Bonanza for the other 95% of the experience. And what she provided to the game was the whole singing element, which changed a lot, and the Bonanza forms. So with the new 3D Mario for Switch 2 teaser, our first look, I'm expecting a trailer that's going to feel very complete. We're going to see some extensive gameplay here, but they're not going to reveal everything there is to know about this new 3D Mario at first. They're going to certainly be holding back on revealing some cool, core, shocking mechanics that add whole other layers to the game that will really help to set it apart from any other prior Mario experience. I do think we'll still see enough to know that this is very different from any prior Mario game. There's probably going to still be some really crazy cool reveals. Like maybe with this first teaser we see just how open the game is, but we won't see, for example, maybe Yoshi being like Mario's companion throughout the adventure if it is such a big, grand, open experience. That's just an idea. But Nintendo may do something to tease it. Maybe actually they'll tease Yoshi right at the end. You'll like see like Yoshi like throw his tongue to grab something at the very end of the trailer, kind of like how with the Mario Odyssey trailer we saw Cappy's eyes right at the end, and that kind of suggests that Yoshi will be playing a significant role throughout the adventure beyond just being involved, but something really significant, like being a proper co-star. So thinking about this just gets me excited. It gets me hyped for the first look for the new 3D Mario on Switch 2. It's going to be an amazing time when that time comes, and looking how Nintendo's handled some of their prior reveals, it seems like over the last few big ones, they're actually going to have a plan here and reveal certain elements as we get closer, and it's going to be pretty cool. There's going to be some surprising reveals like Oddrock being Pauline, or the hat being alive. Something crazy like that could be in store for this lead up to the big release of the new 3D Mario. But what do you all think? What do you think we might see in that first look? Let me know in the comments below. This is AndresRestart. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I will see you all really soon. Take care. Bye.